Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is the brother Yair Radar coming at y'all with another video through the Spirit. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God. Yahweh Shah being the name of his beloved Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And today we're going to get into a video and a breakdown on is hell a place? Right? Is hell a place that's under the ground, it's under the earth, and you got billions and billions of souls down there just burning forever for eternal, all the way until a never-ending torment, right? Is hell a low state of mind? Is hell the grave? What is hell? Whatever somebody can conjure up in their mind, what is it? You got the Christianity church saying, look, hell is a place. Look, if you do wrong in life, then you're gonna get sent to a place called hell. You got people in the truth that think hell is a physical place that people are sent to when they transgress the commandments of the Most High God. So through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, we're gonna rightly divide the word of truth and go with what the precepts tell us about what hell is. Okay, so first we're gonna go to Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 13, because hell is not a place. Okay, hell is not a place that is everlasting, just burning forever. People down there, the people's spirits down there, and they saying, "Oh, like." No, that's not what hell is. That is not backed up by the scriptures. Okay? And we're gonna go through and we're gonna prove that, man. Lord willing, by the end of this video, y'all edified through the Spirit. So this is the book of Isaiah. Salakia. Bear with me, Salakia. Israel. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 5 and verse 13. Okay, and it reads, it says, "Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst." Meaning our people don't have any knowledge. Our people don't have any knowledge of what? So like, what don't our people have knowledge of? The law, statutes, and commandments. How to love your brother. How to love, right, your woman. Right? How to treat other people, man. How to pray, how to fast, how to repent, how to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. How many statutes and commandments is it, period? How to keep the high holy day. Our people don't have knowledge of these things, right? Our people don't even have knowledge of who their God is, right? To them, he's just God, okay? Or white Jesus, man. People worshiping white Jesus. People still into idolatry with crosses, so on and so forth. Okay, so our people are famished. They're dried up with thirst, like the scripture tell you in Isaiah chapter 5 and 13. This is verse 14. It says, "Therefore hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it." Okay, now people will probably read this and say, "Well, that's talking about the pit. It said they're gonna descend into the pits of hell." It's not just going into. We're gonna break it down, right? So we broke down 13 of how it's talking about our people don't have any knowledge of what? The commandments, chiefly. How to keep them. That you gotta keep them in the first place. Okay, so since our people are famished, dried up with thirst, they don't know that they got to keep the commandments, don't know who their God is, so on and so forth, don't even know what their nationality is. What is destroyed because of that? Our mental. Okay? Our mental is destroyed, right? Our light is taken away, and our people are in darkness. So when you are in darkness and your light is taken away, you don't know who you are. We walking around calling ourselves black, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Native American, all these other different bywords, right? Jamaican, West Indian, all these different bywords. We in darkness. We're at a low state of mind, and that's what this is going into. Since we don't have any knowledge about who our God is and the commandments, the things that actually matter in life, guess what? Hell hath enlarged herself, meaning what? A low state of mind, depression, anxiety, suicides, right? Having to stress about, oh, all right, man, I gotta put this certain amount of money back because I gotta pay this bill, I gotta pay that bill, I gotta put this money up for the family so I can feed them, this and that. That's hell. That's literally conditions of hell, right? We weren't meant to be put on this earth to have to go do something as that. Okay, the Lord told us in many different accounts that he made the world for our sakes. I can tell you in 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and 54 on down. He made the world for our sakes. Okay. With that being said, the things that we going through right now is an embodiment of hell. Having to wake up every morning and work for your oppressor, fueling his economy every time you buy something, having to get everything you need physically from your oppressor, right? Being able to have yours and your whole family life in the hands of the people that don't like you, your oppressors. With one word they can fire you, man, and you out of there. Now you don't have money to be able to fend, to be able to take care of your family. Now you living off the government with checks that's eventually going to run out. Okay, and in 2000, I actually did some research on this because it says in 2010, the study showed that blacks had the highest depression rate, which was at 12.8%. And right behind the blacks, the second highest was the Hispanics, which was at 11.4%. Right? So that is hell enlarging herself, which is a low state of mind. Because why? Because our people don't have the basic knowledge of the scriptures. When you don't have the knowledge of the scriptures, guess what? You're going to be pushed into that lower state. And we are as a nation, period, because we fell from our first estate, even to begin with. So now, guess what? We got to go through the punishments, right? In 2020, these are the ratings for 2020 when it comes to suicides and signs of depression. It says this was of October 2020. It says blacks lead the way, so-called blacks, right, lead the way at a 9.8%, right? And then right behind us, the Hispanics at a 9.2%, right? And then so-called white man, he got 7.5%, and then all the other ethnicities is 7.2%. Okay. And it's actually a known fact that the Native Americans actually have a high drunkenness rate. A lot of them, they drunkards. Why is that? Hell, at one point in time, the Native Americans own this land, and now each and every day they got to get up and watch it be ran by the same people who came over here and raped, robbed, murdered, stole, anything you can imagine. They have to watch their land be taken over every single day by the people that came over here and murdered them, and they gotta live peaceably with them, right? Continually to this very day, still being pushed westward. Less than 8% of them left in America. You see that? So that's hell enlarging in herself. Why? Because we lack knowledge of the scriptures. We lack knowledge of the Most High God. We lack knowledge of these laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, Salakia. We lack knowledge of these laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, so I'm going to read it again. It says, Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 13, it says, therefore my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell, a low state of mind, therefore hell hath enlarged herself, depression, anxiety, suicides, and opened her mouth without measure. Their glory, because at one point in time, we didn't always used to be like this as a nation. We used to be a glorious nation, right? We used to be a glorious nation. It tell you in the scriptures that Zion, which is Israel, used to be the perfection of beauty. We went from being the perfection of beauty at one point, man, to now, guess what? Being cast down to a low state. right? So it said their glory, their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoices. At one time we used to rejoice as a people, right? It says shall descend into it, and that's exactly what's going on right before our eyes each and every day. We descending into that pit of hell. We descending into that low state of mind that our people are in as a whole, right? The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, now let's go to the book of Psalms. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 18. Psalms chapter 18 and verse 4. Psalms chapter 18 and verse 4. Okay, now this is David speaking, and this is what David said about hell and death, because throughout this video you're gonna find out that hell is not, I'm gonna say this again, hell is not a physical fiery place that is under the ground. You got billions and billions of souls down there, and they just burning for eternity. No, that's not the case. That's not what's going on. It's not what that's talking about. Okay, you're gonna find out by the end of this video, Lord willing, that hell is a low state of mind and the grave. Death, low state of mind, and grave. That's what hell is, right? And you're gonna see that same pattern throughout the scriptures. We're gonna go from the Old Testament to the New Testament, going from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, right? Let's get it. This is Psalms chapter 18 and verse 4, and it reads, it says, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So he said the sorrows of death. What is that? Salakia. It's a low state of mind. Anytime you're in sorrow, the sorrows of death, and David was a mighty man. He was a mighty man of war. Okay, so he's seen plenty of death in his time. Okay, and he said the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Okay, verse 5, Salakia, it says the sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. Now, if hell is a place, okay, if hell is a place that's continuously on fire, then how is hell compassing David about? Is David in hell? Right? Is so David, who had a heart after the Most High God, I can tell you in the book of Kings, right? And like Salakia, like I tell you in the book of First Kings, chapter 1, he had a heart after the Most High. All of a sudden, he's in hell. No, that's not what that's talking about. It's not what that's going into. It says the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell, a low state of mind, and the grave. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. Okay, so what is David talking about? David's talking about, look, a low state of mind in the grave. That's what compassed him about. Okay, that's what compassed him about, man. Sorrows, man. Hell, depression, anxiety, whatever the case may be. Same things that our people are dealing with now today, man. That's what come with being an Israelite, man. Why? Because we transgressed the word of the Lord. So guess what? That's what we had to go through as a people. And that's what we still going through as a people. All right, let's go to Psalms chapter 16. Psalms chapter 16 and verse 8. All right, this is Psalms chapter 16 and verse 8. And it says, I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. Shall also rest in hope. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Now, why is David saying, for thou will not leave my soul in hell? Right? Did David have to go to hell? Huh? Did David have to go to a place down at the bottom of the earth where people burning for eternity because of the wickedness that they did? No, that's not what that's talking about. Okay? That's talking about the grave. It's talking about the grave. Okay? Once again, hell in the scriptures is referred to as the grave and a low state of mind. Okay? Hell is a low state of mind, and the grave, death. Okay? It says, verse 10, it says, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will I suffer thine Holy One to see corruption." When it says, "Thou shalt not leave my soul in hell," that's talking about, look, even though my body is going to be in a grave, my flesh, right? My flesh is going to be in a grave. You're not going to leave my soul there either. My soul is going to come from the grave. Okay? Grave meaning what? Hell. Yeah, my flesh is in hell, but guess what? My flesh can hope. Why? Because my soul is not going to stay in hell, which is the grave, right? That's why in verse 9 it says, "Therefore my heart," so like it, "therefore my heart is glad and my glory rejoices. My flesh also shall rest in hope." Why is his flesh resting in hope? Because at the end of the day, he know his soul is not going to be left in the grave, which is hell. And that's why in verse 10 it says, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption." Okay? And that's also going into Yahushua, which we're going to get into that too. We actually going to get into that right now. Let's go to Acts. Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 2. Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 31. Acts chapter 2, verse 31. This is the book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 31. And it reads, it says, "He seeing this," actually, I'm going to start at verse 30. Salakia. I'm going to start at verse 30. It says, this is the book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 30. It reads, "Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God hath sworn with an oath to him, that out of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Hamashiach to sit on his throne. He, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Hamashiach, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption. This Yahushua hath God raised up, wherefore we all are witnesses." So, reading this, people would think that, well, people with the concept that hell is an actual place, you would think that, okay, that mean, right? That mean Yahushua, our Lord, that mean he was in hell at one point. What was he doing in hell? Right? Wasn't he a man without sin? Wasn't he a man that literally walked the earth without spot? Without spot and without blemish? That sacrificial lamb without spot, without blemish that was made for us. So what is he doing in hell? That's because he's not in hell. There's no physical place called hell where people are burning. This is talking about the grave. I'm going to keep hitting on that. This is talking about the grave. Death, or Salakia, the grave in a low state of mind is hell, right? Death, the grave, right? Both being one. In a low state of mind is hell referred in the scriptures, right? Anytime you see in those things, it's either talking about one or the other. It's either talking about a low state of mind, or it's either talking about the grave. It's one or the other, right? It's not talking about a fiery place down below the earth. Okay, let's read it again. It says, verse 31, it says, "He, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Hamashiach, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption. Why? And what is this talking about? When Yahushua died, guess what? He rose on the third day. So guess what? Hey, his soul wasn't left in hell. His soul wasn't left in the grave, and his body didn't see corruption either. Why? Because hey, when they rolled back that stone, guess what? His body was gone. Right? His flesh didn't see corruption, just like we read in Psalms chapter 16 and verse 8 on down to 10. Right? David was actually prophesying about Yahushua. It's a little nugget in there. Okay, let's go. So now let's go to the book of Revelations chapter 1. Okay. Salaki. Revelations chapter 1 and verse 18. This is the book of Revelations chapter 1 and verse 18. And it reads, it says, I am he, and this is in red letters. It says, I am he that liveth and was dead. And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I, Salakia, and have the keys of hell and of death. Okay, that's not talking about the fiery place down there, man. What is that talking about? What did he conquer when he rose on the third day with all power? Right? He conquered what? Hell and death. The grave. He conquered death and he conquered the grave. How? Because guess what? Man is not supposed to be risen up after they die. But guess what? How about Shem Yahushua? He was risen up on that third day doing what? Conquering the grave and death. Which is what? Hell. Straight like that. Let's read it one more time. It says, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Why do you think he said, I am he that liveth and was dead? And then right after that, talks about hell and death. It says, behold, I am alive forevermore. Meaning, look, I'm not going to die again. I don't have to go through that again. I'm free from what? Death. I'm free from what? Hell. Read on. Amen. And I have Salakia. I'm going to start from the top, 18. It says, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death. Right? So straight like that. Why? Because when he rose up, guess what? He rose up with power in his hands. Okay? In heaven and in earth. Right? So now let's go to actually let me get the apart. Man. Salakia. Bear with me. Real quick, Israel. Salakia. Salakia, Israel. Left my apocrypha. Forgot the apocrypha, man. Let's go to the book of the three holy children. Let's go to the book of the three holy children. Let's go to 1 and 66. Salakia. All right, let's get some more precepts on this, man. Like I said, we going through everywhere, man. Going through everywhere. Okay. All right, Song of the Three Holy Children. All right, chapter 1. Songs of the Three Holy Children, chapter 1, and I want 66. So I can bear with me. I want Well, the Song of the Three Holy Children, chapter 1 and 60. We'll start at 65. Come on, we'll start at 65. Okay. Which actually goes with the book of Daniel. Come on. This is the book of the Song of the Three Holy Children, 1 and verse 65. And it reads, it says, And Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, bless ye the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever, for he hath delivered us. And this is talking about, and you can read about this in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, 20 on down, right? In the book of Daniel, when the three holy children, okay, they got cast into the furnace, okay? When they got cast into the furnace. This is the same account, right? But we bringing this out. It says, O Ananias, Azarias, Mishael, bless ye the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever, for he have delivered us from hell and saved us from the hand of death, and delivered us out of the midst of the furnace and burning flame, even out of the midst of the fire hath he delivered us. Okay, so straight like that, they literally said, look, he delivered us from hell and saved us from death. Okay, now was they when they got put inside the furnace, the burning furnace, right, by Nebuchadnezzar, was they literally, did he have a stairway that led all the way, I don't know, like thousands of feet down to the center of the earth where so-called hell is supposed to be according to Christianity and other doctrines and so on and so forth? And then he said, look, y'all got to go all the way down to the bottom, keep walking until y'all see hell. And then that's where they was. No, that's talking about. Okay, it's plain upon table said, look, he delivered us from hell, man. Talking about what? The grave. Okay? Grave, death, low state of mind, man. Straight plain upon tables. All right, let's read it one more time. It says this is Songs of Three Holy Children, verse 1, chapter 1 and 65. It says, O Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. For he hath delivered us from hell and saved us from the hand of death, and delivered us out of the midst of the furnace and burning flame, even out of the midst of the fire hath he delivered us. Straight like that, man. So it's not talking about a place under the ground called hell. Okay. Now let's get some more. Let's go to the book of Revelations. Let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 6 and verse 8. 6 and 8. Okay. Let's lock it. Come. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 6 and verse 8, and it reads, it says, And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So we need this explained. Why if hell is supposed to be a place, how is hell following after the pale horse? How is hell moving? I thought hell was in the place under the earth. How is hell moving at this point? It says, and I looked and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and Hell followed after him. What is that talking about? That's talking about depression, anxiety, right? Suicides, having a low state of mind, being in captivity, right? Being subject to payments, being subject to living in the ghettos, man, getting gunned down in the streets. You get pulled over with the lights behind you. Hey, this might be your last time, like we always say, man. That's hell. That's what's following after what? This pale horse with the name on it, death. Literally go right together, man. Right? Because what is hell? The grave and a low state of mind. It even reads on to say, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. Right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 20, verse 13. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20 and verse 13. All right, this ain't going to be too long. Quick edification through the Spirit. This is the book of Revelation chapter 20 and verse... We'll start at 13. We'll start at 13. This is the book of Revelations chapter 20 and verse 13. And it reads, it says, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. So you telling me that God, the Most High, is literally going to take everybody that was in hell. He going to take them all out of there and say, okay, look, y'all got to get judged again after already being judged. Y'all got to get judged again. Everybody come back on the earth. Come on. It's going to be a long line that people walking up from hell. Right? Then they come and then they get judged. And then, boom, they got to go back into hell. Well, it's madness. It's a lot, kid. It just don't make sense, man. It don't make sense. It don't match up with the scriptures, man. Okay, let's read on. It says, and the sea, this is verse 13 again. It says, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. Like we've been saying all this throughout the whole video, hell is what? The grave. That's why it says death and hell delivered up. Why? Because the grave is doing this, right? The people are going to come out the grave. This is the second death. Okay, reading on. It says, just like they did when Yahushua was resurrected. When Yahushua was resurrected, you had people, guess what? They were also resurrected too. The Israelites who had died before, right? Death and hell were delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. Verse 14, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Now hold on. So if hell is supposed to be this place that's full of fire and you burn it for eternity because of the things that you did while you was on the earth, why is it saying that hell is going to be cast into the lake of fire? I thought the lake of fire was hell, according to what people say with their doctrines, according to what Christianity try to push and Catholicism. Not to mention that Catholicism is they actually the ones, the Catholic churches are actually the ones that promoted and pushed hell being an actual place in order to scare people into paying tithes and paying money to the church. Right? And that's an actual fact. Right? Not to mention that it was also a philosophy that was made up also, where you got the I think it's like the 8 or 9 layers of hell or something like that by Roman or Greek philosophers and all this stuff, man. Fairy tales. Right? It's literally fairy tales. Right? Greek mythology. Right? That's where they get that Hades spirit from. Right? The Greek god Hades. Right? That's where they get all this stuff. And people, they mix it all up with the scriptures and other different things. And then boom, all of a sudden now you got formed a whole damn doctrine talking about how hell is a place on the ground, and if you bad or you don't keep the commandments, then that's where you go. We're in the book of Genesis, in the creation of the heavens and the earth. Where's the creation of hell at? Okay, let me show. I need a book, chapter, and verse. Okay, because I've been looking for it, and it ain't there. Okay, there's not even an account of the Most High creating a place called hell. There's an account of him creating the heavens and the earth and everything else about it in it, but no account of him creating apparently a place where you go if you don't keep the commandments, basically. Right? So let's read on. It says in verse 14 again, it says, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death." Now, what this is going into, it says, "in death and hell," death and the grave, right? Death and a low state of mind. Okay, guess what? All those things are going to be cast into the lake of fire, meaning it's going to be destroyed. Okay, why is it going to be destroyed? Because without sin is not going to be in the kingdom of heaven. So if for the Israelites, so if in the kingdom of heaven there's no sin for the Israelites, then guess what? There's no death. Because we know that through transgressions of the law is sin, and through sin happens what? Death. Right? Let me get this in the book of Hebrews. Because we're going to be perfect in the kingdom of heaven. All right, this is the book of Hebrews chapter 8, and I'm going to start at 10. It says, "For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people." Straight like that. So we're not going to sin. Why? Because we're literally going to be programmed to be perfect, like how it's supposed to be aforetime, before the fall of Adam. So if we're perfect and we can't sin, guess what? That means by default we can't die. That's why death and hell are being cast into the lake of fire. You're not gonna have people. You're not gonna have Israelites in the kingdom of heaven who are depressed, dealing with anxiety. They waking up in the morning talking about, I got anxiety, or they stressing about damn work. It's damn Friday. They just got off work, and guess what? They already thinking about Monday having to go to work. It's not going to be in the kingdom of heaven. So guess what? Death, which is going to be gone, because guess what? We're not going to be. It's going to be impossible for us to sin, literally, in the kingdom of heaven. So guess what? Death is going to be cast off, and then what? Hell, a low state of mind in the grave, is also what? Going to be cast off. Right? That's the second death. Okay? That's us conquering that. Just like who did? Yahushua. Just like he conquered it. Okay? So that's what it's talking about when it says, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire." This is the second death. Okay? And then it says, "And whosoever was not found in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." Okay? So it's literally putting the lake of fire and hell as two different things. Okay? How can hell be cast into the lake of fire when hell is supposed to be the lake of fire? It don't make sense. Okay? And now you got some people, they'll say, well, what about scriptures where it say that it's gonna burn in hell forever, or gonna be a everlasting torment, right, in hell, or whatever the case may be. That's called salt, man. Right? That's called salt, exaggeration, emphasis. Right? For better lack of terms. That's why you have scriptures that way. That doesn't mean that people are literally going to be burning for eternity. It's not what that's talking about. Okay? And let me give you some examples. Let's go to the book of, matter of fact, yeah, let's go to the book of Jude. Okay, let's go to the book of Jude, Jude 1. All right. It's exaggeration. You gotta realize this is not no damn Harry Potter book. It's not a book written by the so-called white man. This is written by Jake. Right? This is written by Israelites. Okay? So you have to realize that when taking scriptures into account, you can't just read it like a damn Harry Potter book, man. You got to read it with salt. You got to look at the explanation points on there at the end of sentences. Look at the commas. Look at the damn question marks. You have to literally read the scriptures as if it's an actual conversation, or as if somebody is actually talking, having a conversation. Okay? Let's get this. This is Jude chapter 1 and verse 7. And it reads, it says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Now, this scripture right here, it says they suffered the vengeance of eternal fire. If you go over there to Sodom and Gomorrah right now, which I believe is, don't quote me on this, is Iraq, modern day Iraq, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But if you go over there to Sodom and Gomorrah right now, it's not on fire. I can promise you, it's not on fire. But the scriptures say that it was going to be, the scriptures say it's going to be suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Eternal means forever. So, according to the logic that people will use with the scriptures, that means that Sodom and Gomorrah still got to be on fire right now. But that's not the case. Why? Because it's exaggeration. It's salt. It's emphasis. Okay? Emphasis. I'll use that. It's literally like, for example, you know how Jake is, man. Jake could say, all right, I'll be there in a minute. They damn 30 minutes away. You just call them and say, hey, come to the spot, man. Come kick it with us. Come chill. He like, all right, I'll be there in a minute. Is he really going to be there in 1 minute? No, he's not going to be there in 1 minute, man. But what? That's just how we are, right? We put salt on everything that we do, man. Everything, the way we talk, the way we dress, the way we act. Hey, it's salt involved. Hey, it's slang. Yeah, I like that better. Emphasis and slang. Okay, it's the same thing. You have to realize who this Bible is written by. The people that the Bible is written by, man. They written by people, guess what? Just like me and you. When it comes to who we are and how we act as a nation of people. Okay, we throw salt on things, man. We got swagger. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah 17 and 4. I like that one. Let's go to Jeremiah 17 and 4. Because you're going to find out and you're going to realize that you can't, everything in the scriptures, you can't take, you can't be simple. I just put it like that. You can't be simple. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And it reads, it says, and thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage, which I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled, this is the point right here, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Now, if the Lord's fire is going to burn forever towards us, and we kindled a fire that's never going to be put out, that means that, hey, we have no chance, man. We literally have no chance to be able to come back to the covenant, to come back and get right. That means, hey, we destined for destruction. Why? Because, hey, right here it say that we have kindled a fire in his anger, which shall burn forever. Paraphrase. So that means, look, it ain't no hope for us, but that's not what that don't literally mean forever. Because when you go to 30 and 31, okay, Jeremiah chapter 30 and Jeremiah chapter 31, it's literally telling you about how it's literally impossible for the Lord to cast off Israel. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. real quick through the Spirit for edification's sake. Right, this is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 35. And it reads, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof war. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever." So he said, look, if you stop seeing the moon, if the moon don't come back up, if the stars never show again, if the sun decide, look, it's never coming up again, you're never going to see the sun again. Hey, that means Israel not a nation of people no more. I mean, we're not the Lord's inheritance anymore. But we all know that that's impossible. That's never going to happen. Okay? So straight like that, that's literally telling you that, look, he's never going to cast us away as a people. Right? Forever. Okay? Because he did at one point, but guess what? It's impossible for him to completely cast us away and stop dealing with us as a whole forever and ever and ever. It's impossible. Right? Read Hosea chapter 1 and verse 9, where he literally said, right, but Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Okay? Right? Read Jeremiah chapter 3 and 1, where he said, look, basically you've gone away from me, you did this and you did that, but still I want you to come back to me. Right? Read Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17. Okay? When the Lord said that Israel was a world without end, meaning we never gonna end. There's no end to us. Okay? So this is all throughout the scriptures. Right? In the Old Testament, even in the New Testament, the Lord, Yahweh Shah said, he in Matthew chapter 15 and 24, he said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? If he's not dealing with us anymore, why was he being sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel? All throughout the scriptures, all throughout the New Testament. Paul said, my heart, in Romans chapter 10 and verse 1, he said, my heart's desire that Israel shall be saved. Okay, so the point is, the Lord, look, the point is, when you see things in the scriptures where it's talking about hell, and people may have this question, well, why does it say everlasting eternal fire? Why does it say that? Why does it say that? Why does it say you're going to burn forever if it's not an actual place? That's because it's putting salt on there. It's putting emphasis on there. It's putting emphasis on the fact that, look, it's going to be a hellacious day, man. A day of darkness and not light. Okay? Because you got to realize, let's go to the book of Hebrews. Or Salakia, let's go to the book of Salakia, not Hebrews, Romans chapter 15. Romans chapter 15 and verse 3. Okay, this is the book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 3. Let's start at verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So you have to realize that when you read in these scriptures, they literally written for you. They written aforetime for our learning. And that's what our people got to realize. That's what our people got to understand. Right? Just like in the beginning, in the book of Genesis, okay? In the book of Genesis, in I believe that's chapter 3, if I'm not mistaken, where Adam and Eve had sinned, and it says the voice of the Lord was talking to them, and he was basically slacking. He was basically saying, look, where are you? That don't mean the Lord didn't know where Adam was. The Lord knew where Adam was. You think the Most High God, man, who created everything that you see, don't know where a particular person is at? Don't in the scriptures it says that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun? No, he knew where he was, but guess what? It's written for our learning. It's written for us. To be able to comprehend these things, to be able to understand these things, to be able to put it in perspective for ourselves. Okay? So, with that, all praise to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Lord willing, y'all was edified through the Spirit. Lord willing, y'all understand now by the end of this video that hell is not a place, a physical place burning underneath the earth. It is, in fact, the grave, death, low state of mind. Okay? A low state of mind and the grave, right? That is what hell is according to the scriptures, right? With that, Kwam Yasha Allah, Shalom.